Brookview Community Center was always the highlight of my summer. Ever since we lost Mom to cancer, Dad and I sort of made it into our escape from the weight reality most times brought onto us, and usually it was the fact that Mom was really gone forever. On most nights, we would hit the play button on our rented karaoke machine and just sing our hearts out. And many times we would usually end up crying because Mom's favorite song somehow always found its way into the playlist. As weird as it may seem, the only reason we went to Brookview Community Center every summer was for the police convention. Dad was a sheriff at the state police department, so it was kind of mandatory that he showed up for the convention. It was pretty boring stuff at first, just blue and white as far as the eye can see, although the police sirens did make for a good light show at night. The security symposiums and defense talks went on for hours, and many times I felt my mind get so tired of the symposiums that it would literally take a break from my body. Dad would ask how the symposium went, and I would look him straight in the eye and say, "I wasn't there, Dad." And he would reply laughing, "I know. Lord knows where your mind wanders off to." The only thing I looked forward to was spending time with Dad. At least that was the case until they started a forensic exhibits at the convention. They would arrange elaborate crime scenes with blood splatter, scattered furniture, broken glass, and the works. It was fascinating to me. And I would spend hours just looking over the false crime scene, trying to figure out what happened, and I usually did. Dad named me Kate Holmes, jokingly, saying that my detective skills matched Sherlock's own. The weight of reality hits differently every time it comes. Mom's death taught me that, and today it hit much harder than ever before. I walked into my classroom, and it was like the forensic exhibit, but this time with a punch to the gut. It was like the class had been hit by a hurricane. The tables were scattered, chairs everywhere, but the clincher was the fact that right in front of where I normally sit was underwear stained with blood. On getting closer, I realized it was ladies' underwear. I knew summer break just ended, so only the nerds ever resumed school on the first day, and while the guys on the football teams loved practical jokes, this was quite a sick joke to make. Equal parts scared and curious, I decided to keep the underwear in a Ziploc bag and try to find out what really happened. Was this a joke? Or was someone really hurt? The bell rang. School was in session. Everyone was taken aback by the state of the class, but since there were no suspects, the matter died down quickly. "Kate! Kate!" Her voice seemed to shock me back into reality. "What are you thinking about? You seemed lost for a moment there," she added. I turned to face her and said, "Jenna, promise me you won't freak out if I showed you something weird." Jenna laughed and said, "You're the squeamish one, remember?" I laughed, feeling a little lighter. Jenna always had that effect on me, even after I lost my mom. She stood by me through it all. She was more than my best friend. She was more like family to me. During the lunch break, Jenna and I snuck into the janitor's closet, and I showed her the Ziploc bag. Her face went white. She muttered, "So that happened in our class?" I replied, "What happened?" Jenna went on to tell me how she resumed much earlier than most of us. Yes, she was one of the nerds I was referring to. And while studying in the library, she heard a scream and rushed to see one of the exchange students crying on the class floor. Her clothes had been torn and she had bruises all over. "I ran for help, but by the time I came back, she was gone," said Jenna, quite shaken up at this point. Perplexed, I bolted out of the closet, 1,000 thoughts running through my head. How could this happen? Who could have done this? Why? There was only one person I could trust. It was Mr. Harry, the English teacher. He helped me and Jenna out of one too many troubles we got into. I told him all that had happened and even handed over the Ziploc bag to him. He looked perplexed, but promised to report this to the authorities. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, until the week after school resumed fully and I arrived to meet the classroom scattered like it was that day. But this time, I was not surprised. My dad didn't name me Kate Holmes for nothing. I had gotten tired of waiting for Mr. Harry to get back to me on what the authorities said, so I borrowed a few hidden cameras from my dad's office and planted them in the classroom, and looped the feed onto a secure server to which only I had the access to. I was going to get to the bottom of this, and nothing was going to stop me. On getting home, I logged into the server to watch the video and immediately picked my phone up to call Jenna. I had to talk to her, but she wasn't picking up. "Dad! Dad! Come see this!" Dad watched the video and anger flashed in his eyes. It was like a storm brewing. He called the patrol cops and told them to split into two teams. One to go to Jenna's house to check up on her, and the other to go to Mr. Harry's house to arrest him for sexual assault. The video clearly showed Mr. Harry trying to rape Jenna. She escaped by kicking him in the groin. I think it's all thanks to the self-defense classes she took during the summer. A further investigation revealed that Mr. Harry had threatened other girls in the class, forcing them to sleep with him and threatening them with bad grades if they didn't. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on multiple counts of sexual assaults, and Dad made sure he didn't have it easy in the prison that he was sent to. Brookview Community Center. The siren light cut through the night sky once again. Dad, Jenna, Eliza, the exchange student, and I just finished from a symposium where we talked about vigilance and protecting the women around us and how the police should crack down on sexual assault. My mom's favorite song playing in the background. We got him, didn't we? I whispered. Eliza and Jenna replied, smiling. Yeah, we did. Lights out. We were all safe again. So that was the story. Thank you for listening. If you have any similar stories, you can send it to the link down below. Goodbye.
I was a girl until I turned 15. Greetings. I'm Finley, and for today's My Story Animated, I'm going to tell you how I lived as a girl until I turned 15. Weird title, right? If you want to know, stick around and subscribe to this channel. Everything started when my mother died while giving birth to me, so I never had a mother. That depressed my father so much that he decided to name me Finley because he wanted to always remember my mother. That would maybe be normal for most people, but what happened later wasn't that normal. My father thought I was a replacement for my mother, so not only did he name me as my mother, but he also dressed me as a girl, and every single person thought I was a girl. I turned 7, and my father noticed that all my friends who came to play with me were male because of my appearance. That angered my father, and he made all my friends go away, telling me to never have male friends, as I was different than them. I didn't understand why he did that. He also told me girls have a penis, and warned me to never show my naked body to anyone. What? Why? What is wrong? Questions began to come across my mind. While in break time at school, I used to play among boys, and seriously nobody played better than me. That shocked and stunned boys. They used to wonder how a girl like me played better than any boy. One day, while playing with my friends, my father appeared. He became mad instantly. He asked me to stop playing and to leave the field. I was having fun, so I told him I wasn't going to leave the field. My father couldn't stand it anymore, and he walked towards me, grabbed me by the arm, and dragged me out of the field. He demanded me to stay nearby girls, but I was so sad he made me stay there and dragged me out of the field that I refused to talk to any of the girls. I later decided to go home and didn't even eat. I had only one female friend in my classroom, Emma, who's the same age as me, and she liked me so much that she felt jealous every time a girl or a boy played with me. I didn't know why she was so jealous until we turned 15. I used to give her girl outfits my father used to buy for me, and he was happy and joyful to see Emma frequenting our house. I saw Emma's breasts grow up, but as I saw mine didn't do the same, I was glad to be like other boys. One day, Emma came to my house to read, since she loved to read, but insisted on sharing the bathroom with me. I refused to, remembering what my father warned me years ago, not to show my body to anyone, but Emma forcefully entered as she said it was an emergency. The worst was about to happen. She entered the bathroom and stayed shocked as she saw my manhood, shouting, "You are a male!" I was surprised and shocked. I couldn't believe her, so she also did something amazing and embarrassing. She showed me her private part, since I already knew she was a female due to her breasts, which I had seen in any other female. A few moments later, my father came home and he found Emma weeping at my room doorstep. He asked her what was happening, what was going wrong, but as he got no answer from her, he approached my room and kicked it hard. He was absolutely shocked to see me with a knife on my neck, ready to be swiped from side to side. I shouted at him to tell me the truth. I demanded him to tell me if I was a boy or a girl, and if he dared to lie to me, I would kill myself. I was so confused and so angry, and I had to put my life on the line because I felt I had no other way to find out everything. Then my father fell on his knees and broke down. He wept profusely and told me the truth. He said he did all that because he missed and loved my mother so much that he wanted to see her through me. I was surprised, but as I wasn't confused anymore, I told him boldly that I loved to be and to feel as a boy, that I wished a boy life so much that I would live one or else I'd prefer to die. He begged me to forgive him, and he realized he wasn't going to get my mother back. She was dead, but I was alive and 15 years old. We accepted that, and we both went to the supermarket and bought several male outfits, and he even registered me in a football academy. Everybody then saw me as a boy, and I really was, and I was happy. I didn't hate my father, since he told me how much he loved my mother. Sadly, I never had the opportunity to meet her. I'd love to, but I knew I couldn't. As Emma never abandoned me, and always liked me, we eventually became lovers, and actually got married.